control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing out there? Welcome to the Wednesday VIP edition of the Paranormal Portal. Hope you're having a great week. It's Hump Day's Eve. As usual, we are here to bring you all the entertainment we know how to bring you. And sometimes that means a lot, and other times not so much. But we love doing it anyway, and we love that you guys are here with us. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the show and part of what we do. As always, please share the Paranormal Portal experience. But before I go anywhere further, let me introduce my great friend, awesome friend, amazing guy, and co-host of the Paranormal Portal, Mr. Don Longbeard. Welcome to the show.
Oh, my goodness. What a wind-up. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, can I have $10?
Yeah, sure.
I was greasing you for the cash.
I'm going to have to get it to you through the PayPal.
All right. Speaking of PayPal, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to donate to the Paranormal Portal, and I'm serious, I thought about it, and I thought, well, maybe people just don't want a shirt. They don't want to, maybe they're more discreet with their paranormal love. And so I did set up a PayPal.me. So it's paypal.me/paranormal portal. I'm going to put it on the show tiles for the YouTube videos, as for all of the shows. But I just thought I'd drop it here now because I just actually set it up earlier today. I was having a long talk with Chris Gio, and he's like, and I kind of shared with him my feelings about this, and actually I was caught a conversation he was in, but I have to agree with the other person. It wasn't actually a conversation I had with him.
Oh, you were eavesdropping.
Well, no, it was a public conversation, okay. But he brought up a good point. And my thing has always been, look, I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable and say, hey, do this because, we sure would appreciate the help. But he had a great point of view. He's like, sometimes people really enjoy that feeling. They enjoy that feeling of giving. And he said, don't you feel that joy when you're able to help and give to someone? And I was reflecting on it going, yeah, I do. And so then I thought, well, I'll put it out there as an option. If anybody uses it, great. If nobody uses it, fine. But it's there for those people that would rather
be more anonymous.
Yeah, be more anonymous or be more discreet about it. It's up to you guys. But again, it's paypal.me/paranormal portal. So it's an option, another option. And again, I'd much rather sell you guys a shirt or a hat or something else. I'm in discussions about creating coffee mugs, mouse pads, and window clings right now for more options and maybe, a lower barrier, lower price points. I think that would be fun. And I I just think it's fun to offer something that, not only perpetuates the name, but it's kind of an inclusion thing. And we can also do some giveaways and stuff with those kind of items easier than, a $40 pullover hoodie.
Right, yeah.
So, as this is all out of pocket, it's tough. So those kind of things will be fun, and we'll definitely look into that as the portal progresses. But welcome to the show, everybody. We hope you're having a great weekend. And if you can't do anything, no problem. I don't ever want you guys to feel like, you should be contributing somehow. You guys contribute every time you show up. You guys contribute every time you share the portal with somebody that you know that likes the paranormal. It's all helping amazingly. You guys have been brilliant and wonderful. We have the best listeners.
Portal teddy bears, sorry.
A portal teddy bear. That's cute. Yeah, we still got to do the portal bed sheets, but
that's true. Yeah, those are expensive.
They are. Yeah, bed sheets. Oh my God, it's like a. Why is a shirt like $6 at Walmart?
Well, you got
but bed sheets are like 30.
You got to remember. You got to remember that the Paranormal Portal bed sheets are protection against the paranormal.
Well, they are.
You can't just buy that anywhere.
Right, that's true.
You can only buy it from us.
That's true. And so what could be more snugly than covering up with some Paranormal Portal as you're going to bed? I don't know. I can't think of anything else. But a teddy bear, that's actually a cute idea. Who said that?
And to Lewis.
Lewis?
Yeah,
Lewis.
yeah.
I like it, brother. Thank you. That's a cute idea. But there's I'm an idea guy, and that's my problem is I get these ideas like 50 times a day, and I want to do all of them. But the problem is I can't do them all as much as I try. And, of course, Don has really picked up a lot of extra side projects for the show, and that's really helping.
I could do more.
He can do more, and you guys heard it.
Oh boy!
But he is helping a lot. I mean, he's been really working on the BitChute channel,
and coming along nicely.
Yeah, it's really going great, and he's steadily uploading content over there. So, you guys, that's another option. Again, those are all the same videos that are actually here on our YouTube page. YouTube will always be our first home, for the streaming and on demand video, but we just want to make some people would rather not use YouTube, and I don't want for whatever reasons, and I'm not in getting into all the controversy. Lord knows there's plenty of controversy about it, but we're just trying to create as many avenues and approaches as we can to expose people to the portal and make them hopefully they'll enjoy it and become a part of the portal family as well.
It's better to expose people to us than expose us to people.
Ooh, that's only a little creepy.
That's exactly the point.
Okay, so
to go the other way.
Right. We are going to be doing a Halloween Eve show.
Yes, that's
here in the portal.
It is a Wednesday. Yes,
it is a Wednesday, so it'll be one of our YouTube live streams, and we're of course very excited to do that. It will be a little bit later than the 7 o'clock show, so we're thinking at this point about an 8 o'clock start, 8 o'clock Pacific time for the Halloween show, and hopefully we can do that and pull it all together. But I mean, it's Halloween. It's the greatest night for the portal,
you gotta have a portal
of the year, you know. But it's Halloween all year round on the portal. So
it's more like Halloween.
Oh, come on now. You gotta love it.
No. It's all good. We love
the portal. This. Yeah, exactly. And we love, of course, sharing as much of our time with you guys as we can. I mean, honestly, Don, you and I were talking when you weren't able to make the shows for that entire weekend.
Right.
How did that feel?
I hated it. My seat got cold. I felt like, nobody had. So apparently, and the ghost detector didn't go off either. So there was no ghostly presence sitting in here. My seat.
Nope. There was no lap dancing going on over there because there was no lap to dance.
Yeah, that's true. And even if there is here, I don't know if there's. I don't know.
I don't know either.
They want refunds though. So
you watch the chat, Don. I'm curious. Hey guys, watch the screen. I'm going to do this test. I want to see what you guys think look better. I had a comment on YouTube, and a guy posted a comment on one of our videos that said, "Oh, I came to check out you guys' show on YouTube to see the video, but if you're just sitting in the dark, it's kind of a waste of time." And I replied, "Well, that's how we look best." But true. I thought, let me try this, and you guys be the judge. I like the low light. Personally, I don't like a lot of light unless, it's the sun. I don't care for artificial light a whole lot. I'd rather sit in darkness or minimal light. But here's the other option. Or this. Which do you guys prefer? Again, this or this? So let us know in the chat what you guys are thinking. We are actually, Don and I were just talking tonight about changing the layout of the studio, of the show, just as far as our setting here in the studio. So, in a way to make it more production friendly. This isn't bad, having a camera mounted, and Don has a camera, and we sit here and talk, and if our guests are on, they have a camera, et cetera, which is fine, but I was thinking of ramping that up a bit, but, that'll be potentially coming up in the near future, but Don and I will have to do some brainstorming about how best to lay this out.
I'm getting disappointed.
What?
His lights on.
They like the lights on better?
Lewis likes with the candles. Yes, I do too.
Yeah, in fact, I'd rather have a candle burning in front of me, illuminating it that way. I love candlelight. Candlelight to me is really cool, and it has a great vibe. The LED type light like this just feels harsh to me.
Yeah.
But so people are saying they like this better?
Okay, lights on or off? On or off?
Let us know, please, in the chats what you guys are thinking.
On or off?
I'm watching.
I prefer off.
I see a lot of Taz.
Taz is all over tonight. She's here. She is here present. We miss her so much.
We do miss Taz. we miss all of our followers, of course, and all of our friends. We all consider you guys part of the family. And when you guys aren't here, it's definitely a void. So when y'all can be here. So Panther Paranormal likes them on. Alka-Seltzer for Lady Death. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'm only seeing
yeah, see, Don says too bright makes you squint. So
well, Don, of course he says that.
No, not me.
Oh, okay. So it makes me. Are you noticing me squinting? Is that what you're seeing? Okay. Anybody else? What are your feelings here, guys? There's 24 of you in the chat room. This is your chance to sound off. Doc, Lady, what do you guys think of this light thing?
Candles make it spookier. Thank you, Lewis.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Lady Death says lights out.
Lights out, okay. So, plan B, Don. Can you grab some of those pillar candles? A couple of those pillar candles behind you?
Oh, I might want to take that off.
Yeah, here, I'll just go to my camera for a second. All right, so Don's going to grab a couple pillar candles, and we're going to try candlelight. And the lighter, please. No, I mean like the bigger ones. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So we're going to try candlelight next, ladies and gentlemen, and you guys are part of the design crew here. I just got that comment. Now, granted, this is the only comment like it I've ever had, but I just thought, well, maybe it is too dim. Maybe it is too, like that. Perfect. Don't you need one too?
No.
Oh, whatever.
I like the dark.
Well, yeah, clearly, but
that way you can't. It doesn't matter if my left or right side's to you.
I'm gonna put one on your table anyway.
Oh, fine.
We just got to try it out, brother.
All right, I think right there would be good. Right there.
Right here?
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's the way I like it right there. That's the way.
All right, now that is a nice glow, Lewis. You got a good point. Let's see what we got when we cook that light off completely. Oh, that's a little too light off. Yeah, I think it'll get a little hotter here as it warms up.
You're gonna reach over to type something on the.
Yeah, I'm gonna scald something, aren't you? That's a good point. Yeah, I'm gonna cook my forearm. Where do I put it?
I don't know. My computer froze up.
How do you like that? Is that better? Maybe I need a candelabra right in front of me, and I'll gaze over the flame.
Oh, my goodness. My computer is just totally froze.
Wow. Time to scan, brother. Now, that would be nice if I could get it somehow on the screen.
Wow.
It's a red candle. What does red mean? Maybe over here. Maybe I can... No, that's too far away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to just roll with this as it is for now. I didn't, this isn't the interior design portal, but I just thought, since we got that comment, I just wanted to know what you guys are thinking. What do you guys experience? What do you think? What do you feel? Can we do it better? It's always the object of the show is to do a better show than we've done before. Now, I will tell you that the difference between the video I see as we're doing the show, I got shadows in my face, versus what you see on video on demand. It does look much brighter on replay. And perhaps that's something in YouTube that changes it and brightens it up just for presentation. So I'm going to go with this with just a candlelight tonight. We'll see how it works. See if it works. I think, what I'll do? No, that might be too far too. Maybe I can relocate a couple items here. I think I need a wireless mouse is what I really need, though. This wired mouse really kind of sucks. All right. We're going to go with that for now. We'll play with it and see what we find out. But anyway, tonight's show is going to be about paranormal experiences in children. Change the screen? You want to be on it again?
Yeah, so I can see what I look like.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Nobody knows what... See, that's too much light.
It is?
Yeah, that's way too much light.
I think it's more light from behind you than... You see those?
I'd like more light behind me.
That is kind of pretty, though. It's kind of like having an astigmatism.
I think... Are you making fun of me?
No, not of you. It's not your fault. It's just the candles, the way they're placed. But, all right. But anyway, that's tonight's show is going to be about paranormal experiences in children. And, the thing is that it's widely known in the paranormal, or widely believed, that children are more receptive to paranormal experience. Oftentimes, a child will be aware of a haunting long before anyone else. Like, they will see things, they will experience things, and, why is that? What is it about children? Now, clearly there's several ideas on this floating around, one of which children, and we as children, people are born open. And it's the experience in our lives, whether through parenting, through conditioning of some kind, through maybe, plenty of other environmental factors, cause that vision to close, cause it to, fade, and to focus all of the attention on here and now. Is it an environmental conditioning that pounds this out of kids? Is it, sit down, sit still, look at that book, read that letter, do this exercise? Are we as a result causing our children to close their vision and become little automatons? Are we creating this narrow focus because we live in a society that demands task orientation?
Reality.
Well, reality, yeah, exactly. But you know what I mean? It's like, is it maybe, yeah, that's candle's probably not helping you much.
No.
It's such a little flame, too. I'm hoping that it peaks up a little bit, but I'll do this. Put them both right here.
Sweet.
That way I have two. And I have a more golden glow now.
Oh, yes.
But is it environmental? Is that what's happened because we demand children do it? Is there parenting involved where there's a monster in my closet? No, there's not.
No, there's not.
It's your imagination. Now go to bed because, I need to get up and go to work tomorrow. So you are telling a child whatever they're perceiving, whatever they believe is real,
wrong.
is in error. It's not real. It's a fabrication, and that they should close down and go back to sleep and shut that off. So through repeated, experience of telling a child, no, you're seeing that wrong, it's not there at all, are you telling children to close that vision as well? Or, is it a combination of the two? Or is it more biochemical? Do our physiologies change so much between childhood and adulthood in that, in the pubescent years? Does something happen to us physiologically that closes that vision? Or is it all of these factors? And as we're discussing this, feel free to weigh in the chat room. Don and is Pixie in there?
I don't know. My computer literally froze up.
It's like, oh, okay.
I'm restarting.
All right. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. I guess, yeah, Don certainly can't be keeping an eye on it right now. But guys, let me know what you guys think. But I tell you, there is story after story after story after story in the paranormal talking about experiences that children have, and a lot of hauntings are first noticed by pets and children.
Yep.
Those are the first two things, living things, to experience the haunting. They'll be aware of it months or years before anyone else is. And then, of course, usually it progresses from there. Or are they exactly like us? Are children exactly like us with no distinguishable difference in awareness, but they are more targeted by spiritual entities? Are these entities creating awareness in the children first before they create awareness in the adults?
That's a good question.
And that just occurred to me as I was typing up the show description on YouTube. Is it possible that there is no real difference? Of course, maybe those other factors matter to some degree, but is it the beings that perpetuate who perceives them and who doesn't? So those are all food for thought, and you guys will, definitely weigh in on that. Panther Paranormal says humans are social, so many experiences can be closed off due to others saying it's not real, etc. And I agree wholeheartedly with you. I think you're dead on with that. And he said, I think, or he or she, is it a she?
She.
She says, I think it's a conditioning of our need to socialize as well. You're right. You're right, and that's a good point. So as children grow, they are more interested in having friendships and those relationships, and so their awareness isn't like an open radar dish just picking up whatever's going on.
Right.
And their thoughts become more occupied as they develop, whereas a child will sit with a coloring crayon and their mind is all open. It's wide open. They're just open to every experience. That's why they pick up every swear word you happen to say because they hear everything, every sound, and they're excited about it because they're learning. And so as they develop social relationships, are their thoughts becoming more and more tuned to those relationships and less wide open environmentally, like, an open book? And those are all potentials. And again, it's all speculation because the paranormal isn't, something we can measure and repeat testing results, in laboratory type situations. And, a lot of very logically thinking people will only accept that. If you can't create laboratory type testing and experience and repeatable results, then it can't be real. And there's something to that. I'm not discounting that out of hand.
Right.
I think that approach is definitely valuable in certain situations, but we can't encompass paranormal things in a laboratory.
Raspberry's in the YouTube chat. Hi, Raspberries. First time I've seen you.
Hey, Raspberries. Nice to see you.
She says, we're taught that certain things are not normal, and most children will strive for a sense of belonging as they grow up. It sort of becomes a voluntary blind eye to things that are abnormal. And, that's society shaping kids.
Yeah.
That's society saying, no, you know what, you gotta grow up, you gotta buck up. This is not, it's a bunch of bunk. I thoroughly believe that in certain cases, and I speak from experience, that we're told as children to shut it down and stop being childish, and mm-hmm. I think I think that's the bulk of it,
Right.
I really do, so.
And I think that's to me, it's probably a combination of things. I think
Sure.
I don't think it's probably any one thing, and I think that any of these opinions are completely valid and very probable, but I think it's just so many factors interacting on that child's psyche mm-hmm. as they grow and as they develop and as they create their identity in this world. It all serves to close down awareness. Right. Now, the other idea is that kind of the master plan. When you think of things in more conspiracy type ideas, right. People think that there's and believe very much that there is a plan right. to keep people in their place. Right. And that's is that a possibility? Is that why our world is the way it is? Well, I don't personally think so, because I think as physical beings we have an obligation and a need to interact in the physical world to create a life, to create comfort, to create survival. Right. And, I think that that's been the case since, we were crawling around in caves. I just think that that's the mandate of coming of age. And so as such, we can't just stare at the heavens and ponder, philosophically about the nature of the universe all the time. But I think, however, I think most people lose that balance, that there should be some of that in your life, that you should have those mystical moments of reflection and experience, because, we do end up in our own little microcosm of sorts. We end up in our little bubble and we shell ourselves off. Mm-hmm. But I think that, I think these are all valid, and that's what we want to talk about tonight. As ideas occur to you guys out there, please keep them coming and please let us know. Doc Kayak says it's also easy for parents to dismiss a child's experience and play it off as though the kid is just playing pretend.
Right.
And you're right. And that's the hard part, I think, about being a parent, Doc. And this is something that, as a parent, I've wrestled with many times myself. Just yesterday, my 3-year-old said he didn't want to play upstairs because the monsters were upstairs playing with his toys. And so how much of that is a pretend? So I said to my child, I was like, well, you know what? Let's go up there and see if they're still playing with your toys. So he and I came up here together, and I said, are they here? And he says, yeah. And I said, where are they? They're bouncing on the bed. I said, really? What do they look like? Pink, yellow, purple, orange. He started looking around the room looking for colors to explain this thing, and it was like, oh, I think we just walked into an imagination. We went head first into an imagination.
which is absolutely fine, but
Yeah.
so I mean, you encourage that too as well.
Right.
Yeah. It's just it's just being aware of what you're encouraging and
Right.
properly, and discouraging also properly. There's definitely things you don't want to encourage.
Right, exactly.
You want to discourage certain things, but
well, sure. I mean,
definitely encourage that intuitiveness, that imagination, so.
Right, and he's a little young for to tune this in really correctly. But it was at that point I went, oh, okay, so this was not so much an experience, but it was really cute, and perhaps it was, maybe I wasn't giving him enough attention at the time.
That's true, but
so he wanted to create him, that center of the universe moment.
And I think he knew that would draw you right in.
Right. Well, he said it to his mom first, which is, and then she looked at me. Now, we have had plenty of weird experiences here. So when she said it to me, she had that look of concern in her eyes, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll check it out. But then we came up here and looked around, and and then he's looking at his little pup tent, and he goes, "It's orange," and then it's got the tunnel connected to it, and blue,
right.
And then it's he looks over his bed, and it has the Hulk on it.
Oh, geez, yeah.
So
Raspberries also says, I only recently brought. So she must have had experiences when she was a child, but she must have kept it to herself. And she says, I only brought it up to
to my older sister.
Yeah, my older sister, and we changed the topic pretty quickly because her experiences were much more negative, and she was afraid. Yeah,
right.
That's definitely one of those hindering things too. Is better to talk it out than just bottle it up, and
right.
So I mean that definitely shuts things down as well. The ability to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's part of what I love about the portal is that so many people that have written in with their stories and written in with their experiences and written to me personally just to talk about it. They didn't want to share it on the show or were very selective about what I could share.
Right.
But they've said, it's so cool to be able to finally talk about it.
Right.
And that's what I love about this community and the paranormal community in general, not just this show, but everybody out there that's working towards raising awareness of the paranormal and making that okay, because people were isolated in their experiences forever, and it was this boom of paranormal awareness with television shows like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters before them, Paranormal Lab or whatever that one was called, where those guys had that big semi-trailer. And they were all great shows. I mean, they unfortunately seem to have a real short shelf life, but all of those things raised the awareness and the vocabulary.
Open the door. And
they opened the door because it was like, okay, now I feel like I can talk about this because, I'm hearing people talk about watching the show and hearing that, seeing that door open was really crazy. And so it gave people an opportunity. Are you getting warm?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. But yeah, I mean, it's the ability to have these discussions. So all of you out there, and I see, many names come up in the chat room of other paranormal channels.
Right.
And I just, I think it's great. Keep flying the flag because people need to be able to address these and talk to these, and our paranormal community is making that happen.
Right.
And I'm excited to keep it growing. So let's get into some of these stories tonight, and continue this discussion as we go, and we'll see what you all think about that. And thank you to all you that have contributed to the story in the chat. And if any other comments as you scroll back down that we need to drop on the store, that would be great. Or on the show, rather. That would be great. You know what? This is that really long one. Okay. All right. So let me get to the right part. Sorry, I got about 100 windows open here. So this one is talking about a child seeing things. It says, my mother's sister, nephew, and I stopped on the side of the road, which happened to be at a cemetery where my family had a plot. So my mom could turn off her cell phone. This is on Halloween night. My 2-year-old nephew looked up at the graveyard and said, Nanny, there's 3 babies, and starts to open the car door. My mom asked him where, and then he pointed toward a couple of gravestones. He then started to motion for them to come to where he was and said, come here, babies, we can play. Well, I was starting to get a little freaked out, needless to say, but what really caused my hair to stand on the back of my neck was when he looked at us and said, over there, and pointed straight to my grandmother's grave out of the blue and said the nickname PJ, which is my brother, my nephew's daddy. What? My nephew's daddy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Her
okay.
brother, yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, just didn't track for a second. My grandmother used to always call my brother PJ. And never have we ever called him that, and no way could that child have heard it anywhere, because no one ever calls my brother that, but my grandmother did, and she's passed away. At that moment, my mother was like, Dalen, where did you hear that name? And he said her, and pointed at the grave and then said, I guess that's my daddy. I burst out in tears, and I know deep down in my heart that child saw something that we couldn't. And that's so powerful. That is so very powerful. And that's a really great indicator when a child is able to pull information that would otherwise have been unknown from out of the ether. That's incredibly potent, and to me it goes a long way in validating these experiences, I think. What do you think, Don?
It does. Well, and I'm kind of Doc Kayak just asked a question too regarding difficult with skeptics with difficulties, and it kind of goes along with my answer. My answer is this: it would be awesome to be able to really fully believe that something like that could be connected. A child's looking out at a graveyard and seeing a passed away uncle, or in a child in a body that it can relate to, in a baby's body. And then the grandma saying, well, that's that's PJ, whatever. That's great. But then I read Doc Kayak's. He says, why do you think it's so difficult for skeptics who are searching for answers to have paranormal experiences? Well, Doc, that's me. So, with looking at it from a skeptic's view, I see it as childhood imagination, intuition in a way. Sure. But I don't. It's hard for me to really say it's a spiritual connection.
Well, the child pulling a nickname that nobody used except for one person who was deceased.
That's happened in my life too, and it's kind of weird. But I don't know. I really don't know.
Here's the thing that I think is important, though, and I think that's the distinction between a skeptic potentially having an experience and a skeptic never having an experience is whether or not they are open to the experience.
I'm sitting right here, buddy.
No, well, exactly.
And so I'm open. I mean,
right.
But
that's my point.
Maybe that's what's.
But I'm responding more to Doc than to you, and that's the problem. Is that for us to experience any energetic experience, we have to be open to the experience. It's like people experiencing miracles. A skeptic may never experience miracles because they're not open to the possibility. Yeah. And so, and here's the reason why, is because these things, these things and everything around us is a representation of an energetic field. Some of these energetic fields are tangible in that we can touch them, we can experience them very physically. Others are not. But in my opinion, an openness to the experience creates an available circuit. so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not
Conduit.
pushing it away.
Yeah.
You know, you're not creating a resistance. You know, in electrical terms, you have resistors that push back on a current to create either a slower current, or they can stop a current if it's too hard or too much.
Right.
And so the potential isn't there without an openness for that potential.
Right. Well, Doc says, I feel like I could spend my entire life wanting to see a ghost or an apparition, spirit, whatever that may be, and never see one. So
Sure, you could.
So it sounds like me and Doc are kind of in the same boat. You know, we're healthily skeptical, yet still with openness and searching the journey.
Right.
So
well, the same thing could be true for the spirits in that
that's
they
true.
may be receptive to whether or not you're open to the experience. They may be able to tell just by the flow of energy, because I believe that they don't like see with eyes the same way that we see.
Sure.
But they see the field of energy, and they can
feel
tell
the flow of it.
Right. They know where their energy is being
circuit.
allowed and where it's
Sure.
not being allowed. So.
Sure.
And this is just my own personal opinion. I have no basis for this other than just intuitively. This is what I'm feeling. But I think that openness on both sides is important. Now, many spirits don't want to interact, or many of them are in a state that they just want to be left alone. They're just trying to work. They're trying to work through whatever luggage they still got left, so that they can move on, and they don't want to sit and make flashlights go on and off, and be the tiger jumping through the flaming hoop for some new ringmaster that decided they were going to come in and have them perform tricks.
Right,
I imagine
right.
that's
Stupid
condescending as hell.
Things, yeah.
It's probably demeaning as hell, to be honest with you. I know if somebody came into my house and said, "Hey, move that chair. Come over here now. Vacuum over there in that corner."
Right.
I'd be like, "Who the hell are you? Get the
Right.
hell out. I didn't invite you in. Go. I'm not going to entertain you at all." So you got to think of it in terms that in many cases, spirits were living people. They were alive. They did own the home or
Right.
wherever they were. And now things are changed. They don't like it, but it's changed, and they're just trying to just do them, for the lack of a better descriptor.
Right.
But
Right.
does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's very viable too. I mean, as a matter of fact, somebody in the chat said, when they were young, they saw little strange things, and they just simply said, "I don't want to see that.
Right.
I don't want to. I don't want." And so they kind of shut themselves down, which is their choice. I mean, that's up to them.
Right.
And if I remember correctly, this person has a very spiritual side, a very I don't want to say religious, because I may be speaking out of turn, but I know that they have a firm belief in God.
Okay.
Or that's the way I read it into
Mm-hmm.
it. So, I mean, and that's okay. That's great, but, it's like I feel like I was shut down as a child, and now here I am looking, so,
Mm-hmm.
it's I've got that open conduit instead of, I'm trying to self-open.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Get that awareness back open, cracking that pineal and getting it going again,
Right.
whatever that is. But, it's just one of those situations where I just don't know. It doesn't matter how open I am to it.
Right.
Maybe there's something that I have to, maybe there's a blockage that I have to find out that'll do that. Open it up. But
Right.
it's just, it's just one of those things.
Right. And as a side note, MCAT, your shirt is on the way, brother. It did get shipped out, so thank you again for your order and helping to support the portal. That was really cool. He got himself a T-shirt. Woo! So anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. But great questions, guys, and keep them coming. Keep your thoughts coming in the chat, and we can certainly discuss any and all of them as we can.
Right. Sean says, first thing to opening vision to these things, Dawn, he's speaking directly to me, is to learn how to focus on the third eye. Well, that's, and I just mentioned,
good point.
cracking open that pineal and seeing what,
Right.
what comes through. But I mean,
I
don't think in my case that might be true. However, like I said, I believe I was shut down as a child by, through, my parents, or the way my parents were and saw things, that they said, no, that's just ridiculous. Go back to bed.
Right, exactly.
That kind of thing. So
Exactly. And Sean said, Don, I know you're reading this. When you put a finger over your third eye and focus on it, not touching your forehead, if you can feel the proximity, that it's the first thing to focus on.
Okay, the proximity of my finger not touching my
Right,
forehead?
not quite.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay, well.
yeah, yeah, I understand kind of what he's saying, yeah.
Right.
And that's a great point. I think that,
Developing that reach.
Well, I think, the other part of it is that the ability or the awareness of being able to see and experience spirits like that, we're expecting them to jump into our vision, and sometimes they do. Mm-hmm. Like in Diana's story, when her friend, who is comatose in the hospital in really tough shape currently,
right,
stopped by to visit. Right. I mean, it was just like boom, he was there, and he was as real as
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was right there,
right there having a beer.
She gave him a beer, but she noticed he never touched it.
Right, exactly.
But really, really profound experience. Now, that I think was supercharged, a supercharged experience brought about by her sorrow, her anguish, her pleading, that, really acute emotional state about the calf, trying to, just, I don't know, willing that something to help, somehow help. And so this person, being someone that the family loves and knows,
right,
was like, you know what, I'm gonna go see what I can do. So that's a really, really powerful experience. Very, very profound. But again, those kind of manifestations, I don't know if they're as common as we think they are. Perhaps they're more common, because it's oftentimes occurred to me that how do we know that everyone we pass when we're going around our day is actually there? How do we know?
Yeah.
You bump into, hundreds of strangers per day that you don't know.
Lady in Red syndrome.
Right. Yeah. From the Matrix. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It may be a disguise. That you're seeing, or that they're showing you.
It may just be that you don't know them, but they're there, and you're perceiving them, and as long as they look as real as everyone else, you're not going to walk around and poke everybody like, hey, are you there?
Are you real?
are you really real? Okay. You know what I mean? It's like it's just part of the thing, and it occurs to me that perhaps we've all experienced tons of spiritual beings. We just didn't recognize that they were different than anyone else that we experienced.
Right.
So perhaps, there's no call-ins tonight. I'm sorry, guys, but our call-in nights are Friday, Saturday. That's only available during network shows, so I do apologize.
Wednesdays are open for call-ins if you want to complain.
Yeah, it's the Paranormal Portal complaint line.
Only on Wednesday nights.
You can call Zach Hubbard and complain all you want.
Diana says maybe they don't want you to know because they know you aren't open to it. Well, and that's part of what I think that's part of what I've extrapolated through the conversation as well. So,
right.
I mean, they're just doing them and they don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, very good point. And these discussions are incredibly profound. So perhaps we are always experiencing spirits, but we just don't know that we are.
Right.
Perhaps that cold chill that you experience every once in a while is just something moving through. It's possible. And it doesn't always have to be mundane. Perhaps it could be fantastical as well.
Right, true, yeah.
We just don't know, ladies and gentlemen, but we're all on the journey to try to sort it out.
True.
Okay, here's the next one.
We kind of got off subject.
No. I mean, it's all important because it's speaking of spiritual awareness.
Right. True.
And when we're comparing a child's spiritual awareness to an adult's, is there any difference? Perhaps we are experiencing them as much. It's just that maybe we as adults experience them as more solid people, or maybe we don't. I don't know. It's tough, but I really believe that the spirit has to create part of that perception, except for psychics like Sean and Deb and Diane
Deb
and Diane.
Oh, yeah. D, yeah.
Yeah, Diane Swiger, and any of the rest of you out there that might be gifted in that manner. I am somewhat, but I don't have near the clarity as all of those people.
Right.
I do in other ways, but not for perception of spiritual beings.
Would you say though intuition is I mean I admit I feel empathy quite a bit. I empathize quite a bit, and
Sure.
it keeps me connected. That's how I stay connected to people from far away.
Right.
Because I like people from far away. But I mean the empathy to be able to empathize with them, not necessarily sympathize, because that means
Right.
you have to have had a similar situation. Sympathy and empathy is just
Right.
having feeling for the person.
Right.
And
It's all spiritual awareness, right?
Right,
So
right.
you're aware of an energy through empathy. So
Yeah.
and intuition is just
you just know it.
well, the reason you know it is because you feel the energy changing before it's manifest. I mean, it's just everything has to energize before it occurs. It's just the way energy works. An energy potential has to build to a point where it manifests in our reality. And so as an intuitive is someone that, in my opinion,
Right.
feels those energies, those ebbs and flows of energy,
Mhm.
and whether they're attached around a person or an event or a place,
Right.
I mean, they're able to perceive that and tell that something's coming.
Right.
And, sometimes they can really dial it in, and sometimes it's just a bad feeling.
Right.
So,
Right.
that's my opinion of what that is. And, of course, other people can certainly weigh in on what they believe it is. But
Right.
I just think it's an energetic awareness on it,
Well, that's what Dawn says in the chat. She says, "Dawn, you're describing feeling energy." Well,
Right.
I can
Exactly.
understand that. I mean, so if I can feel the energy,
Mhm.
why have I not had that that recognizable experience?
Well, you're. It's like saying, "Why can't I speak Japanese?" Well, it's just you weren't born there. You didn't learn it. You've never been taught it. And so it's not where your awareness is directed. You may be more of an emotional awareness. That might be your psychic ability. That you're emotionally aware
Right.
of things more so than other people, or whatever the case is. Not that it's a competition, but it's
Right.
I mean, there's children that are not able to walk in their entire lives. They'll be in a wheelchair.
Right.
So they develop differently than
Right,
other
sure,
people. That
yeah.
doesn't negate their experience. It doesn't disqualify them in any way. It just means that they are not specialized in that way.
Right.
And so some people are artistic, other people are not.
Well, see, and that's
So, it's just we're all individual. We're all unique.
and I'm responding to Dawn in the chat room. I'm not necessarily shy. I just don't like people. But it's like we were talking earlier. I believe that people say on the autism spectrum, kids with autism, the lower functioning may be experiencing such an intense experience
Right.
that they're kind of overloaded.
Sure.
So I mean, I believe that there's probably people out there that are experiencing so much that it hinders their outward touch with reality, or
Yeah.
something like that. I mean, and I hope that's correct. But that's just a point of view.
Exactly.
And,
And
so
don't ever apologize for having one. I mean,
Well.
it makes perfect sense, and you could very well be right.
Doc says, Don, you like people. It's just you haven't been around the right ones. That may be true. Well, that's why I got Brent.
Yeah, well.
I'm within 5 feet of Brent. I could do this.
Well, we're all in this together. All you guys and us here.
Yeah, we're all on that relationship together.
Right, and that's the beauty of these kind of discussions. I love for us to have a conversation more than I want to sit here and tell you things that have happened. Not that I love those too, but when we share ideas, when we share thoughts, when we share opinions and belief, I think we all grow from that experience, and understanding develops as we mold it between us. So keep it coming, guys. You guys are. It's wonderful to make.
This is what makes it a family. This
right,
is our
exactly.
community.
We're at the dinner table here, folks. So anyway, who's buying lunch?
I guess I'll barbecue.
Yeah.
MCAT's got to bring the beer, though. Apparently, he drives beer every now and then.
Wow.
It was a Friday I saw that. I guess he had like
Ah.
44 tons of beer in his truck. Like, drive it on over here, buddy. I'll make
Right.
dinner.
I'll give you my address, MCAT, when you're in the neighborhood. You can swing by with some overstock.
We can have porters and porters.
Yeah. I thought that was somebody that carries your bags. Boom, boom. Sorry.
We'll have a paranormal porter with a porterhouse steak.
Paranormal Portal House. I like that.
Oh, there's Litchy.
Lichty.
Yes.
Hey, Claire. How you doing, Claire? Wonderful to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Lichty, ladies and gentlemen. Claire Cousins in the chat is she's
Long time listener.
She's from over across the pond. Always wonderful to see you. It's great that you stopped in and thanks for being here.
Yes, definitely. Nice to see you.
Evening. Oh, she's got the greatest voice too. She's called in a few times to the network show, and it's just like, oh man, I could listen to her talk for ages. Just keep talking. I don't care what you say. Read. You can read recipes.
How
to make more sounds.
How to make slime.
Just make more sounds, Claire.
Nice.
I love the way she talks. All right, so.
Oh, Diana says she'll bring the steak. She's got a bull that dislikes everybody.
Ooh.
Bring it on over.
Bet she's not going to be a real big fan of the grill either.
Oh, boy.
I'm just saying.
Goodness. Nice.
We can tear it up here on the portal. Like I said before, we can go full stupid in no time at all. Absolutely. But that's the fun of the show. It's not scripted, ladies and gentlemen. We just talk it as it happens. And so let me get to this next one.
Yeah, sorry.
Keep an eye on the chat, though. I want to see what people are saying, what they come up with. Because these ideas are wonderful. I'm 14 years old, and this is a true story. It happened to me when I was about 3 or 4 years old. I don't know how I can remember all of this. I actually only remember very little, but I do know what happened. I was at my grandmother's house, sitting in her living room all by myself, and I was just playing with a Buzz Lightyear toy. I looked up and saw a black figure. It wasn't blurry or disappeared fast. It just looked at me and walked through a wall. It was pure solid black and had the shape of a cowboy hat and boots.
Oh.
I screamed, and my mom and grandma ran in there and asked what was wrong. They say I said, "Man walked through the wall." I asked my grandma about this house when I was about 13, or my grandpa rather, and he said it was a Civil War battlefield, and when the war was going on, and they built their house on that land. His grandma saw a black boy get hung in the trees. Oh, that's so horrible.
Oh, God, yeah.
And my grandpa said that he saw a little Civil War girl at the end of his bed. He looked closer, and as he looked closer, she disappeared. So the ghost I and my family had seen must have been Civil War people.
Wow.
That is really powerful, and that's, to have that clarity of memory from 3 to 4 years old is pretty profound.
Yeah, definitely that. But if you build a house on what could have been a Civil War battlefield,
yeah, you're kind of asking for it.
Yeah, you're kind of
That's a lot of psychic trauma,
energy right there,
packed into. I mean, and it's got to be
swamp.
What?
It said swamp. It made me jump. Yeah, is it a swamp? I suppose there's a lot of swamps in the water.
Well, I guess it could have been a swamp at the time.
It actually startled me.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to get startled. It really is, but it was like in my ear, like swamp.
Yeah. Wow.
Like,
so yeah, swamp. Yeah, Lady Death heard it.
Yep. Yeah, so it said swamp. That's the ghost detector, ladies and gentlemen. We always run it on the shows, unless we have interviews and we have a guest on, then I turn it off. But it always adds something really cool to the show. But
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Other times it just sits there and does nothing. But that says swamp. I'm not sure what swamp relates to. Maybe the land has a swamp. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think that may have been what it was pointing to, is the land that was built on was maybe a swamp and part of,
Yep.
Who knows? I mean, it's subjective.
The story comes out of Pennsylvania, apparently.
Well,
so it's possible.
Yeah.
I guess Pennsylvania might have some swamps. All right, so that was that story, and very cool.
Ruthie says, now you have another guest.
Well, there's the studio's always full of guests. We just can't see many of them. They're always here. They're always,
We think.
Well, I believe so. I mean,
Well, sure.
I believe there's something hanging around. Not malicious, not harmful. Just
Diana says it better hit the like button.
well played, Diana. Well played. All right, this next one is comes out of Kansas, and it says, one time my friend asked me and one other friend to go to the local cemetery and place flowers on her father's grave for her, since she was in Kansas City, Kansas, and we were already here in Garden City, Kansas. After picking up a few flowers, we headed to the cemetery. I brought my 3-year-old daughter along with us and didn't explain to her what a cemetery was because it wasn't necessary. After walking around for a while, trying to find her dad's grave, we stopped at a grave that said something like, Baby Girl Smith, 1987. I told my friend, oh, look, and we just stood there for a few seconds, wondering about what could have happened. We weren't talking, and all of a sudden my daughter says, very matter of fact, Baby died there. My friend and I turned pale and said, what? She just repeated herself, Baby died there. It was so freaky, and we wanted to know more. But asking a 3-year-old for details is kind of hard. I have to agree. It's like it's like trying to interrogate a spy. It's
what
like,
did it look like? Purple, pink,
yeah.
blue.
He's just looking around for clues. I asked her if she could see the baby, and she said yes, but with a look on her face beyond her years. The look was a knowing, like a wise kind of expression, like yes, sometimes things like this happen. About 2 years later, we moved to Oklahoma, right smack in the middle of Tulsa. And there's a cemetery there as well. And one day, while driving down the street right next to the cemetery, I looked over for some reason and noticed not one person was at the cemetery visiting graves. Not 2 seconds after that, my daughter, who was in her car seat, in the back seat, said, look at all those kids playing over there. I looked in the rearview mirror, and she was looking over at the cemetery. Just in case I got it all backwards, I looked over my shoulder at her, and sure enough, she was looking over at the cemetery. I looked again at the cemetery to be sure, but I didn't see anyone. And I asked my daughter, do you see kids playing over there? She said, yeah, lots of them. Now, she's going on 9 years old and doesn't see stuff like that anymore, but I sure thought it was amazing.
Yeah, no doubt.
It is, and that's a funny thing because 9-year-old, 9 seems to be the
kind of the cutoff.
Right. It seems to be like that's when things shift. It's also the earliest year that I'm aware of where girls can start manifesting poltergeists. It's usually female girls between 9 and 13.
So do you think that for some people they change from imaginary friends or something like that to more an active, because you've mentioned the energy of puberty, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so, do you think it actually, some choose to change and become more, I don't know, possessive?
Well, if poltergeist is indeed an extra personality outside of the person, but a lot of people believe that poltergeists are manifest by unresolved issues from the person, like it's a projection of psychic energy. Whether that's the truth or not, I don't know. I tend to believe that poltergeists are probably their own thing, not necessarily connected to the child, but I don't know. I really couldn't say either way, I guess. It just doesn't feel like it's just a projection of a person. It is a pretty profound thought, and I do like the thought that people can do that because I think it demonstrates the untapped potential in people. Right. But I don't know. It just depends on what you believe. But that seems to be the prevailing theory around a lot of people in the paranormal is that poltergeists are manifest by the living, and could be right. I mean, Amy Allen on the Dead Files thinks so, and I'm sure she's pretty well schooled in the subject. But what it is exactly, I don't know. Huh. But it is a pretty it's predominantly with 9 to 13-year-old girls, but up to 15, I think,
Right.
is the time when they're most likely going to manifest. In fact, when we had that call the one time on the
Yeah.
show, and the guy was telling us about all that was going on, and he mentioned his sister, and
Right.
that Deb and I both were like, "How old's your sister?"
Yeah, she was like
Bec-
15.
Yep, she
I
was
think
15 years old.
Had
And
scratches. I was wondering if whatever happened about that.
I should probably check into it because it's it's kind of my responsibility. But I know Deb reached out to him. I don't know if they reached back, but in checking out their channel and and it was it's clear that they're investigating it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Which if you're, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a haunting and it's disturbing you, don't look for EVPs. Don't look for perpetuating.
You're feeding it energy.
Right. You are encouraging a presence by asking it questions, by engaging it.
Yeah, Deb said she never heard anything back from him.
Oh, okay, she's in there. Okay, right. And so I know that these people were actively investigating. They had laser grids in their house, and they were filming hours of nighttime activity at their house and putting it on YouTube. And if you already have an environment that you're not comfortable in and you're worried about,
Right.
investigating your own environment is absolutely the wrong thing to do. You need to disengage, ignore everything that you can, and get help to come in and cleanse it if you're unable to do it on your own. But if you perpetuate that relationship by asking questions, reviewing for answers and stuff like that, while it can seem to be exciting, you are perpetuating the energy of this being,
Right,
and
right.
you are including it in your home. So just as a side note, but they were nice people, and I'm not putting them down.
Right.
Those are all things that I would want answers to as well. So I'm not chastising them,
But do it. Have someone else. Well, you know what? As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, they did have somebody outside come in, and they told them in no uncertain terms, "You have to move,"
right,
and then
yes.
left. And that's part of what.
Right, and so
know.
it probably helped to perpetuate the energy as well, because all of a sudden the investigating team that did come in gave them no help,
No,
and
yeah, just
basically
kinda left
said,
them high and
"Well,
dry.
you're screwed. I got to go. I
I'll
got
see
to
ya.
get up
Bye-bye.
tomorrow for work." So
Got a
good luck
Coke
with
too,
that.
in
Yeah.
aisle in the brown aisle.
Yeah, it was absolutely handled poorly. I'm not sure
Yeah.
who investigated. This is by their account. I haven't talked to the investigator, so I don't have any
Right.
basis for that comparison. But it seems to me that while the activity probably startled them pretty good, they really weren't probably really seriously trying to get rid of it. They were getting some momentum out of it, and which is fine if that's what they choose to do. That's wonderful, but it's hard to complain about a haunting if you're not trying to get rid of it. And investigating it is definitely not going to help get rid of it. That's my 2 cents, again, but that was my experience and my gut feeling with it. Anything going on in the chat?
Yeah, Naysay's in there. He's being a goofball. We love you, Naysay.
Mr.
Don't
Naysay.
ask for forgiveness in this show.
I'm just glad he's in here now. Naysay, of course, has been a great friend to me personally, and he's been on the show many, many times.
Oh yes.
He's a great friend, but he's got a channel as well on YouTube, The Megaphone Man, and he's been working on some videos there. So if you get a chance, check it out. And the same for Sean. Sean's going to be a guest. He and Joel are going to be a guest this weekend on the show. So, I was just reading a message. Sorry.
Raspberry says, this is interesting because my sister feels like the experiences we had as children may have something to do with an ongoing bad luck in our family. Well, why not? I mean, that would make sense to me, I mean,
I'm sorry, I missed that.
bad luck is just bad energy, so.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's, that gets to be a big spider web at that point, because bad luck is probably here's my, in a nutshell, and I'll make this very brief because it's going to get way off topic, but bad luck is, we have things to learn. We have experiences that we have to learn, and there's a process by which life brings us these experiences. First, life will whisper to you. It'll be like, hey, you might not want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Then life's going to go, hey, You might not want to do that anymore. And then life's going to go, hey, stop doing that. And then, of course, it's going to scream. And I'm not going to scream. So when you start experiencing things like bad luck, take a look at what you're doing. Take a look at what you continue to do in spite of you knowing better, or, because in my experience and in the experience of many people I've helped in, many different areas of life, they've all ignored their lessons. They've all ignored the things that were being presented to them to create change in their life. And so if you don't learn it, you don't get to just ignore it. It's just going to get really freaking uncomfortable. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But anyhow, yeah, that is quite a bit off topic. But if you're not watching where you're going, you're going to bang your head, and that's pretty much what it comes out to in my life.
It is, right.
So
I mean, you can only walk into the wall a few times before you got to find a door. That's the bottom line. So if you're hitting the wall in your life, start looking around, because you're missing a door somewhere. And sometimes to get through that door, you got to put down some of the stuff you're carrying.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's all I'm saying.
And sometimes that's our own ego.
Well, most of the time it has a lot to do with ego. Unfortunately, ego's it's usually
it's a
counterproductive.
Yeah, definitely that.
It's okay to take pride in things,
right.
but to wrap your ego around things is going to hinder you. So,
yeah.
Again, that's not the direction of the show, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to soapbox, but these are my thoughts, and since I have a microphone, you get to hear them. So,
10 signs that your child may be psychic.
Please.
Enhanced empathy. Psychic children are able to sense things beyond the realm of normal human perception. Much of this visionary power has to do with the enhanced empathy. In average people, empathy is the ability to imagine oneself in another's perspective. Empathy is also what allows us to relate to another person by having experienced what that person has gone through. But with psychic children, empathy is not just the ability to think about another person's emotions. It's literally feeling another person's emotions. They can pick up on another person's emotional energies and feel unspoken emotions or thoughts. Their enhanced empathy is part of how they are able to perceive and understand another person without even needing language to do so. Along with empathic abilities, psychic children have heightened sensitivities to their environment. Maybe you've had the experience of going into a house and sensing a strong energy or spirit that isn't tied to the people who are currently there. It's the kind of experience that some people associate with hauntings. But sometimes it's not the presence of something so much as something about the environment itself that alerts your senses. This happens because even seemingly ordinary objects like an old wooden armoire or a hallway can retain the energy of the past residents.
Boy, we've discussed that a few times.
Yes, we have. Psychic children are able to pick up on these energies to an even greater degree because of their heightened senses to everything around them. When they are young, they may not be able to articulate what it is they're picking up on, but the awareness is there, and kids often feel the force of these residual energies.
Use the force.
Luke. Oh, I just talked right through that one. Heightened. Okay, so it was one was enhanced empathy. The second one I just ripped right through and didn't even notice the heading was heightened environmental sensitivities. So that's the hallway or the armoire that has some kind of attachment or stone tape theory, whatever that may be.
Right.
Number 3, people are drawn to them. Has someone ever told you your child is special? Or are they just catering to your ego? Or do you notice that people are more drawn to your child than others around them? This could be an effect of the child's psychic gift. Psychic children not only take in energy, but they also powerfully give off energy. Often in children, these are very positive energies that make other people feel an overwhelming joy. Children that are psychic have the ability to elevate moods of the people close to them. If it's not happiness, it could still be some inexplicable feeling that makes them drawn to your child. Whatever feeling it is that they induce, psychic children can have an effect on people around them.
Right.
Yeah. Number 4, connection with animals. Psychic kids operate differently than average people. This is because they don't always need spoken language to communicate. Their psychic abilities have to do with an expanded consciousness. For children, that comes with an ability to communicate without words or gestures. When it comes to animals, I was just thinking, never mind. When it comes to animals, they are able to connect with them on a much deeper level that goes beyond language. If your child is especially drawn to animals, this is a good chance that it is because their unique abilities allow them to communicate with each other. Number 5, clairvoyant instincts about people or events. Sometimes children will surprise you with their instincts about certain people or events. Your child might say, "That's a bad person," to someone who is perfectly nice. Or the child might say, "She's sad," even when the person is smiling. Or maybe your child doesn't want to go somewhere because they simply have a bad feeling. Psychics are clairvoyant, meaning that they have special instincts that allow them to see deeply into a person's soul or pick up on energies surrounding a place. Communicating with loved ones who have passed on. Has your child ever spoken to you about a deceased relative? Or maybe you remember a loved one who passed away before the child could have formed memories about that person. This is another sign that your child is psychic. Loved ones, especially family members, have lingering connections to the people they've left behind on Earth. Psychics are able to connect and communicate with these people precisely because their vision is not limited to what average people can see. You know, I can understand so far all of these things, but how much of that is just natural curiosity of the child, and well, of course, open to, being open due to not have been shut down,
Right.
So connection to the spirit world. Number 7, connection to the spirit world. Psychic children also have strong connections to the spirit world. This is because their psychic ability is a supernatural gift. Perhaps you've heard your child speaking to what seems to be an imaginary friend. If so, there's a strong likelihood that they are in fact speaking to an otherworldly spirit. As long as your kid seems happy with this relationship, it's not something to fear. Not all spirits have bad intentions. It is possible that the spirit your child is speaking to is there to act as a guide in their life. Interesting. But, all things we've talked about before.
Right. I would say,
Yeah.
additionally, that if your child seems happy, that's of course an indicator. But if indeed it is a dark entity, they of course want your child to be happy,
Right,
because
right.
because they want to perpetuate this connection and establish it and grow it. So
Right.
use your intuition as well, people. As you know, if you have something feeling off and then you find your child talking to the closet, it's worth looking into. I'm not saying that it definitely has to be evil as well. There are many very wonderful spirits around us. It's not as if they're all spooky and horrible. Most of them are not, but there are plenty of nefarious things as well. So I think use caution if your child is talking to the closet or someone that you can't see. But
Sure.
don't use your child as the only barometer for that.
Right, right.
Definitely talk to a psychic, talk to somebody that can feel that situation and let you know if you have something dark around you. And definitely use your own intuition. We all have an energetic intelligence. Not we're not just binary beings. We are multidimensional beings, and we all have that inner gut feelings. I did put a post on the Paranormal Portal page on Facebook, Paranormal Portal Radio, and it has to do with the intelligence of our guts, of our diaphragm area, that we have nearly as many neurons in our diaphragm as we do in our brain. And in fact, there's a constant communication between our brain and these neurons in our digestive tract. And, that's why there's sayings like gut feelings. We do feel things energetically, I think, in that diaphragm area. So, learn to listen to your gut feelings.
What is it? The stomach chakra?
Well, the solar
that's-
plexus, stomach,
whatever that's called.
and groin. Yeah, those are all 3 chakras within that region. but it doesn't necessarily have specifically to do with chakras. I mean, there are, in biological terms, we have neuron networks in our digestive tract. So it's not just an energetic phrase. There is a physical representation of, this other intelligence in us, for lack of a better term, or a co-intelligence, or, that it's all a part of us as, as a whole. But,
right.
That's why, if you walk into a bad place, it's like, I don't feel right. That's
you might want to pay attention.
You pay attention to it, yeah. Don't play with it.
Don't walk into that wall.
I would also like to announce, ladies and gentlemen, did you have more?
There's a couple more, but go ahead. I mean,
well, I have another avenue to go down quick before, but go ahead and continue.
Yeah, let me whip these out real quick.
No worries.
Number 8, memories of a past life. Here you go, Lady Death. Memories of a past life. Some psychic kids have such a strong ability to see the world beyond that they still retain memories of a past life. Perhaps your child remembers going to a place they've never been, such as somewhere overseas. Or maybe they recollect a house they insisted they lived in. These are further signs that your child's psychic gifts, which may be bringing back memories of a past life. Disturbed sleep patterns. Well, if that's an indicator of being psychic, I'm the most psychic person in the world. One of the unfortunate effects of a psychic ability is that it can be disruptive to sleep patterns. The unconscious is the realm where even average people are able to access the world beyond and the unseen world that surrounds us every day. Mm-hmm. For a psychic child who already has enhanced abilities, the realm of unconsciousness can be especially intense. It might be that your kid is on the astral plane while sleeping. This means that they are in fact conscious in their sleep, regardless of what causes disturbances to their sleep patterns. What is important is to be there for them when they wake up. Children that are psychic need more nurturing than most to reassure them that they're safe in your protection.
Very good.
And lastly, gifted with creativity. Kids with psychic abilities are extremely creative to the point of being creative geniuses. Creative geniuses often talk about inspiration coming to them from seemingly outside sources. For them, creativity is just another of the many gifts that they have because they are so well connected to the world around them. Mm. Their psychic gift allows them to imagine entire worlds. They can make connections beyond what most people with limited vision would be able to do. If your psychic child loves creative projects, support and encourage their creative activities. Creativity is a great outlet for them to express themselves. So there you go.
Very cool. All right, thank you. And those are wonderful to bear in mind and to observe and watch for in your children if you're a parent or have a young child in your family, like you're an uncle or aunt to some little child. You never know. But I do want to take a moment quick and mention this because this is coming up on Saturday's show. It's of course a longtime friend of ours and an amazing contributor. He's been a guest before, so we are going to have Sean Gonzalez on, who is in the chat room as Ian's Magic Oak. He will be on Saturday's show with us, and his friend Joel Robinson will also be joining us. Amazingly great people, and they've been absolutely instrumental to us on the portal in facilitating us being able to help a whole lot of people that have been in pretty dark situations with a lot of oppressive energies. And they give of themselves freely, and I just love them both. They're just really profoundly wonderful people. And they'll be on the show, and we'll be talking about spiritual protection and some great hints and tips and best practices, along with a host of other things. So that'll be on Saturday's show. Again, Sean Gonzalez and Joel Robinson will be joining us here on the portal on Saturday evening. Again, the show time for that will be 7 p.m. And, of course, we'll be streaming it live here on YouTube, as well as TFR Live, TuneIn, TalkStream, iHeartRadio. So definitely tune in for that. But Sean has also messaged me, and he's referred me to his blog. And it's I need to say it, he is somebody that has lived what we're talking about tonight as, children with a acute paranormal
Oh
awareness.
yeah. He talks about his kids.
In himself,
and
now as his children as well are growing and forming into their abilities as well. But just really profound. But I want to give you guys this link, and Don, after I've given it, I'll forward it to you to post in there. Unless Sean, if you want to post it in the chat room, that's fine as well.
I don't think he can he?
Oh, maybe not. So you can though, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay,
of course
so I'll forward it to you in just a second. But it's under the URL http://iansmagicoak.blogspot.com. So Ian's Magic Oak, all one word, and magic is MAGICK. So Ian's Magic Oak, MAGICKOAK.blogspot.com, and in the blog you're looking for will be an entry that's a life slightly different, and it's incredibly well written. We've shared a large segment of this on our show prior, and I referred people to check it out. But it's absolutely incredible reading. You get to see the world through his eyes in this entry, and it's incredibly profound and powerful. So definitely check it out. But I'm going to forward it to Don, and he can post a link in the chat, which of course will be available to people if they check out the show after our tonight's air date.
Oh,
but
Sean's birthday is coming up too.
Is it? When's his birthday?
The 22nd.
22nd. Wow, actually, one of my brother's birthdays is coming up too.
That makes him just a few months younger than me.
A few months younger than you.
A few months younger than me, about 9 actually.
Oh, that's not bad. All of us aged and learned souls.
Wizened and wicked.
Right. Wizened.
Wizened and wicked.
Or wizened. Which is it?
I don't know.
I like the sound of wizened better. I don't know if that's proper, but wizened sounds like
something I did out back. Yeah.
All right, dang it, I wizened again.
Okay, never mind. I won't say.
All right.
So I'm posting Sean's blog spot right now. There it is.
So it's in the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
If you're looking for some really profound reading, very insightful, it's a great opportunity to look through the eyes of someone that's lived this, other than these few accounts that we're talking about tonight. This is, of course, the narrative as he remembers it. So very powerful.
And I also posted Deb's Purple Mystic readings also.
Oh, great. So Deb has been a guest on the show many, many times as well. And she does private readings. And so follow that link as well to get your own private reading. If you've listened to any of Deb's appearances on the YouTube channel here, you will you will walk away having to believe that she's the real deal.
She's got some kind of something, going on.
She's got all kinds of something. That's all I'm saying.
And because she said it, Deb's birthday is this month as well.
What's going on in October, all you paranormals?
Maybe it's because it's October and they're paranormals.
Wow. There you go. I guess that's it. That's
a wrap. Got that one.
Yep. So let's cruise.
Cool. Yeah.
Cruise through the night a little bit more here. But I hope you guys are enjoying this, enjoying the show. I think it's pretty cool.
I think Raspberry's enjoying the show.
Good. Well, I'm really thrilled, Raspberry, that you found us. It's always exciting to meet new listeners and to know that people are finding us as we go. I mean, it's incredible to do the show, but it's even more incredible to have an opportunity to meet these people at least through the chat. I mean, I'd love to meet you all in person, and someday we'll have to do a Paranormal Portal conference or a paranormal conference, and in some regionally neutral place, like
grill and greet.
We can have some Ouija boards and a grill.
And a grill.
And we'll put Deb in a tent and doing readings, and
put her in a little headgear.
She'll be give her the headgear and a little gypsy tent,
and give her a little accent.
And put Sean and Joel over on the side to handle purgings and cleansings. And
welcome to the Paranormal Portal sideshow.
And I'll wear the top hat and
and MCAT will be driving the beer.
And investigating. Absolutely, it sounds like a deal. Left. That would be so fun. It'd be fun to get together and meet all you guys.
I don't know what exactly he meant, but Megaphone Man says something about a psychotic one. I was wondering if he'd be the psychotic one.
That depends on the day, but no, I'm just kidding. Nace is a wonderful, wonderful friend and has been an amazing guest on the show many times. Something we're all excited about whenever he decides to make an appearance, and he's going to be on the show in the coming weeks. I haven't quite nailed down when, but we're definitely going to drag him into the portal once again, ladies and gentlemen, for more of this mayhem and fun. And the show's not over. I just thought it's a great time to make some announcements, but
Taz says we have to have beans. Black-eyed beans.
We'll have Pixie whip up the black-eyed beans.
No doubt. Goodness.
Since she's made that an incredible cornerstone of the Paranormal Portal.
Okay, that was hilarious.
It was hilarious. It was a hilarious episode. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the show, you should check out the Black Eyed Kids episode at about the hour 12-minute mark.
Hour and
2-minute mark. Yeah, for someone that's so opposed to it, you just spit out the time. Like, check it out here.
This is something else I'm opposed to. Diana in the chat room says, having a grill and greet over at Obake's place in Oahu would be good.
That'd be awesome.
And she says, Melissa can bunk with Dawn. The answer to that is, oh, heck no. No. I'll be sleeping in a tent down on the beach. Maybe not even in a tent. No nunks allowed.
No nunks allowed.
Thank you, Taz.
Oh God, there's so many things have happened on the show that'll just always be funny, and it's just a nunk is one of them. Oh. I thought it was a cool term.
It was fun until we found out.
Until we found out what it meant. It's like, doop.
Oh no.
So apparently, ladies and gentlemen, we were doing a show, and I got to give the background because we're always meeting new people, and the way it went was.
You know what? I tell them to go back in the archives and watch the show.
I mean, definitely watch the show, but I don't even remember which one it was now. But it was basically we were reading a story about nuns, and the story had both nuns and monks in it. And during the story, I said, I misspoke and said nunk, and I thought, that'd be a cute term. That can be what we call the Paranormal Portal people. They're a bunch of nunks. Well, there were some people that actually knew there was a definition to that word already, and it wasn't the one that I thought. Apparently, we've come to learn what a nunk is actually a saggy man scrotum. So, I didn't know that.
Oh, that is a very nice way to say it.
What else can you say? It was.
I got 1,000 ways to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, megaphone. You can be. He said I can be the token Indian sitting in the BS. Sure.
Well, if we ever do get together, we're bringing him over. There's no doubts about it.
Yep. We'll just change his name to Sitting BS.
Sitting BS.
There's Chief Sitting BS. Oh, we love you, Naysay.
Oh, we need a medicine man so bad.
We do. We need all kinds of help. I say mayhem. It is mayhem, Renee. I just like to being able to watch the chat, and that's a highlight.
Oh my goodness.
Of the shows is, I wish I could watch them all the time when we're doing the show, but I'm usually doing 15 things and reading 50 things, and I can't get a chance to do it. So now I'm watching you guys.
I'm the co-pilot.
Renee, we are disgustingly funny. Awesome. Well, the one thing I can tell you is that after watching The Portal, you'll never forget it.
You'll never forget it.
You can't forget it. It's just kind of tattooed in your head. Yeah. You can't unhear The Portal. It's just in there now.
No amount of mental floss will help.
Well, I think all of our houses do, probably, Lewis. Lewis says my house sits on Indian land, and I'm thinking all of our houses do, because they kind of had this all worked out before we arrived. But anyway, let's continue. I used to babysit a lot when I was in high school in our small town, which is considered what many call a hamlet. There is a huge house in the center of it, and some lady had bought it and used it for a B&B for about 10 years, and her family and her lived there. Her husband was sick and had actually passed away. A couple of years after he died, she sold the house. Then the military bought the house. I noticed the family outside one day, since it's such a small town, and I thought I would just go and introduce myself. And they had 3 small children, 3 adorable little boys who I've become to love and care for very much. At any rate, I told them if they ever needed a babysitter that I would be more than happy to help them out. They didn't really know anyone in the town, and for a while I didn't get a call for any babysitting, but the wife wasn't too off for my age, wanted to hang out, so we started to hang out, and while we became wonderful friends. The children got to know me, and she and I were talking, and we had the weird feeling. She told me that the house creeped her out, and she thought it was haunted. It was an old house, and who knows what all the things that could have happened there. Well, her oldest son, who was about 5 at the time, came into the living room when we were sitting there, and he said, "Mommy, Ashley, do you hear those screams? Mommy, help that man."
Oh.
Amanda was scared, and she asked her son, what man was he talking about? And he said, "The man in the bottom of the stairs. Mommy, he's on fire. Help him, get some water."
Oh.
We were freaked out and didn't know what to do, and we went to the bathroom, or the bottom of the stairs, and didn't see a man, of course. We ignored it. The very next day, we were outside relaxing in the yard, and her oldest came to us again and said, "Mommy, I'm going to go inside and play with the Good Brothers." We thought he was talking about his 2 younger brothers, and so she said, okay. He went inside, but we looked up, and the other 2 boys were playing in the sandbox. So I went in the house and saw her son playing in the toy room, talking out loud and laughing. I asked him who he was talking to, and he said, "The Good Brothers, Ashley." I ran out to Amanda and told her that she needed to come into the house. We got freaked out, and we started researching the house. We looked in the old barn, and there was tons of papers and forms and papers with information on the house. Apparently, there was a fire in the hall at the bottom of the stairs, and a man died in flames. We got scared, and we went to the stairs and pulled back the carpet that was on the floor, and there was a burnt spot.
Oh.
I never had that many chills run through my body.
That doesn't make sense, though.
Then the Good Brother thing seemed like it could have been just his imagination. We didn't think anything of it, but one day we went to the loft at the top of the house, and there were 3 floors on this house. After the attic, there's a little loft with windows where you can look out over the town. And we went to look around one night, and there was tons of writing on the walls, where people had signed the walls and wrote quotes and things, even writings from way back to the 1890s. And we were signing it ourselves, and I looked up above my head, and I saw, "Long live the Good Brothers." And there was no way that the child wrote that. He was only 5 and 3.5 feet tall. We got freaked out and ran downstairs. Also, in that house, there was a hallway that they never used because it had 2 extra bedrooms, and they didn't need, so they shut it off. Well, in that hallway, there is a washer and a dryer. I was washing some blankets for her, and I got really creeped out. And I walked into the hall. And there was one bedroom that was kind of dark and creepy, and I went in it before and still felt weird. I usually ran past it if I had to go to the laundry room. Well, I found out that the woman who owned it before, her husband died in that room. He died of lung cancer.
Oh, wow.
And to add to that, 5 days after I found out that he had died in that room, the oldest child said he heard Uncle Charlie coughing upstairs, and it was really bothering him. We asked him who Uncle Charlie was, and he said, "The man that sleeps in the room next to the washer."
Oh, God.
We got freaked out because that woman's husband's name was Charles. The child wouldn't know that. We were scared. Needless to say, they live in Italy now. That's hilarious. Now the superintendent of my old high school lives there, and she doesn't have young kids, and says that she hasn't seen anything weird. Well, there you go. Maybe the kids are the trigger.
Wow.
It's their spirits that are bringing out the energy.
You know, I got to say, though, the man burning to death in a house fire and there being a burn spot on the floor.
Under the carpet. Yeah.
Well, but if the house burned down.
Well, no, they didn't say it burned down.
Well, they said it was a house fire.
There was a fire in the house, and the man was consumed by flames and died. They didn't say the whole house burned, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, they didn't actually mention anything about where the fire was. So the man was at the bottom of the stairs,
right,
on fire.
Yep, That's what it sounds like.
So spontaneous combustion?
No, I mean, it sounded like the fire had started
So there was a fire somewhere else. Why?
in the house.
So
yeah.
was that part? That part of then what I guess I'm getting at is that part of the house must have been renovated.
Right. But they left the burn marks
Which
under the carpet.
Just doesn't make sense to me.
And we found the chalk outline.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what they found, but it's it's horribly tragic. Of course, I can't imagine that of any of the ways to pass on out of this world. I think would be the most suck way.
I don't want to be buried because I don't want to wake up dead, and I don't want to be cremated because I don't want to wake up in a furnace.
So we should shoot you into space and just call it a day.
What? Your best bet is to just remove all of my necessary parts.
Necessary for what?
Treat me like Osiris. Just cut me to pieces and put me to the ends of the earth.
Wow.
I'm so creeped out by
your
waking
mortality?
up. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, I'm not afraid to die. It's going to happen, but I'm afraid of how I'll be disposed of afterwards.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things that it's the biological imperative. We're all going to walk that road.
That is true.
So it doesn't really pay to be too afraid of it, but I certainly am concerned about the circumstances. I don't want to ride this out going at the end of this journey, I want it to be like
I want to go out like my grandfather did. Peaceful, resting in peace. Unlike the people he was driving around in his car.
Did your grandfather crash as he fell asleep?
No.
Oh, so that's a joke.
It's a joke, yes.
All right. Well, that's funny.
Yeah. Diana says, Don, they embalm you before burial or cremation. I don't see any point in embalming for cremation, though.
Well, I can tell you, he's partially embalmed already.
She says it isn't the 1800s.
Yeah, that's right.
Tie a bell to my pinky. And
yeah, we'll just make sure you can ring if you get stuck. I'm not done yet.
It's a dead ringer.
Oh, is that what that means? That's really creepy.
That's what the graveyard shift's all about.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks for an inadvertent cuss.
I'm just gonna sit here.
Don is now muted.
Wow.
Shift. You and your pronunciations. It's a shift.
People ask me, "Where's your accent from?" I said, "I don't have an accent. I have a Seattle slur."
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I think
that's being a street kid in Seattle.
Oh. Well, that explains a lot.
Don needs his little supervision.
Don. You do need supervision, but I don't know what to tell you.
Wow.
I'm closing about 50 of my windows here.
Oh,
Jesus.
goodness, yeah.
I got a ton of stuff open. So, anything going on in the chat? Am I missing anything?
No, they're just having fun with us.
Well, good. I'm glad somebody's having fun.
Yeah.
I'm having fun, too, though. I mean, it's hard not to have fun doing the show. This is one of my true loves. You guys are one of my true loves.
Oh.
You guys are my twin flames.
Oh. Even though you got two flames sitting over there. They don't look twinish, though.
Oh, the candles?
Yeah. One's a little taller than
it's
the other.
It's a gift that keeps giving. But
wow.
Lots of love. Anyhow. That's all I'm saying. LOL means lots of love. Oh, funny.
Wow. Okay, so anyhow,
what?
Story.
Are you trying to push me into reading more?
Well, I can read some more.
Well, yeah, but
how to help a child that is psychic. Listen to your child.
All right, good job, Don. All right, moving along. Actually, why don't you read that, and I'll run get a water. I'm all out. So we're going to go to Beard Vision here.
Beard Vision.
Brought to you in Beard Vision. Well, that's creepy. Let me go out of that. Oh no! All right, go ahead. Oh, you're gonna wait for me? All right.
Well, no. I mean, I just had to. I'm just gotta shift here a little bit until you get by.
At least you said the F that time.
Oh God.
He pronounced it right.
Above all else, your psychic child will need support from you. Striving to listen without judgment or disbelief will encourage their communication with you and will indicate that you are open to them talking about their psychic impressions and experiences as they occur. Always try to validate their experiences, whether or not They seem to make sense to you and foster an environment of comfort. Very important, I can imagine. Try not to react with fear or embarrassment because this can lead them into shutting you out of future communication. They may also internalize shame of their gift from this and consequently suppress their abilities, which can be harmful to their emotional and psychic well-being. We've been saying that a lot too. 2, teach them the basics of psychic protection. Children with psychic gifts are vulnerable to the energetic drain that can occur from consciously or inadvertently taking on the emotions and energies of others. Teaching your child basic techniques to protect themselves from such a drain can be important to ensuring they feel safe and secure. This can include grounding skills, such as practicing meditation or even activities such as yoga or martial arts. Breathing exercises can be helpful during times of emotional duress as well. An additional exercise for your psychic child involves telling them to imagine they're surrounded by a bubble or an orb of light. Calling this bubble around them can allow your child to surround themselves and their energy with positive energy, keeping anything negative out. Reassuring them that their experience is normal and special. Yes, it can be both. Children with psychic abilities tend to internalize messages that promote the idea that they are in some way wrong, weird, or strange for having the gifts that they do. This makes normalizing the experience vastly important in order to ensure that your child that their gifts are not bad or deserving of worry. Tell them that there are a number of other adults and children all around the world that possess the same kind of gifts, and if their gifts make them anything, it makes them special. Many believe that children are given psychic abilities for a reason, to serve some greater purpose. Be sure to convey that you are willing to help them find resources that can connect them with others. If they're interested, it's important to make sure that your child knows that they're not alone and that they are not bad or weird for having the abilities that they do. Ask them how you can help. As part of listening to them as they share their experiences with you, also be sure to ask them for additional ways you can offer your support. Your child may experience nightmares or be fearful of their abilities, and it's important to be able to listen to ways they feel you would be able to best help them. Psychic children often intuitively possess the means to manage their energy and may therefore have some ideas of what can help. Commonly, this may mean installing a nightlight for their bedrooms or keeping a noise machine to soothe their fears as they rest. However, try not to assume what will help. Be sure to ask. Your child's concerns and needs are valid and important. Foster a healthy lifestyle. Okay. Encourage nutritious diets for your children, including varieties of food as well as healthy exercise. Kids will be kids, so treats are fine, of course, but they'll likely feel much more balanced if their diet contains all of the necessary nutrients. Shaming a child for their food choices can also be detrimental to their psychic potential and emotional state. However, always try to come from a place of love and understanding. Keep records of your experiences. Keeping a journal of both your experiences with your psychic child as well as encouraging your child to keep a record of their emotions and experiences can be very beneficial emotionally. Encouraging your child to record their dreams and psychic experiences can also help you observe patterns and help you and your child to distinguish the true meanings behind them. It's best to record every psychic impression or experience directly as they occur, while the energetic pulls and emotions are still fresh. 7, be mindful of who you tell about their gifts. Although it's not pleasant to think about individuals who may react negatively to disclosure of your child's gift, it's important to remember that not everyone may react with an open mind. Therefore, try to use discretion when you decide who to open up to about your child's abilities. Follow your heart, try to consult your child, particularly as they age, about whether or not they're ready to disclose the gift. Their comfort level in telling others is important. Strive to be the protector from negative energy. Do not let yourself be afraid to open up to those you feel that will accept and understand. They are not anything you nor your child should be ashamed of. Okay, and the last one is allow your child to be a child. Period. Let them pick their path.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
I think that's probably true, that we end up getting involved, and we of course think that we're trying to mold our kids, trying to shape them. And while I think that we need to be influencing our children's development and doing what we can to help them become, amazing adults,
right.
I think that oftentimes, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody. Oftentimes, we insert ourselves into our children, and we don't understand their choices. How did you get there?
You think?
How did you get there? I don't get it. Because of course it doesn't make sense always with our own logic.
Right.
But I think it's something. Being a parent, I think we are learning as much as these children are. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't just I'm a parent, that means I have it all figured out. It's, oh my God, I'm a parent. How do I keep this growing? How do you keep it all together? How do you help a child and create a loving environment and create expectations that are reasonable and will build? And how do you nurture the child and to bring out the love and the kindness in them, as well as making them capable of coping with the world? Mm-hmm. I think it's a tough balance. It's a double tough balance. But, I think it's something that I learn every day a little more about how to be a parent. And then I learn that sometimes I have no clue. And then other times I feel like I'm doing okay. But I think it's important to acknowledge that. But letting a kid be a kid is important. If they want to, I found myself with my 3-year-old, and this is one of those situations where I was like, what am I doing? Okay, so he's 3, and very, very, very intelligent kid, like hyper intelligent in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how he can figure out the things that he figures out, but he does. And he's coloring, and I'm watching him coloring, and I kept trying to get him to color in the lines. And then it occurred to me, it's like,
you're trying to put him in that box.
Right. I was shaping a vision for him and expecting him to mimic that. And I'm like, then it occurred to me, like, hell, color however you want. The whole, we can have purple lights on a car. That's okay. And they don't even have to fit into the circle. Just make it however you want to make it. And once I did that, it was liberating for me, but it also made it more fun to him. Because as I was trying to encourage him to color in the lines, it got to be less fun for him. Because now he had an expectation, and I was stemming his creative flow. So it's something that I'm learning as I go. And this isn't my first child, but I don't think the learning ever stops.
Yeah,
so.
No doubt.
Anyway, I don't mean to monologue like that, but
just pontificating.
Absolutely. Well, I don't mean to pontificate in an avuncular fashion.
Okay.
So it is what it is. But but having a child with ability, and I think all children have ability, and to allow that to nurture without putting our own expectations on it, it's a tough road to follow. But that's what my point is that we're all learning how to do it.
Right.
So. All right. This one sounds cool. This one sounds like a good one. My son just turned 4, and he's told me in the past about having a ghost friend. I've asked him a lot of questions about his friend, but my son never tells me anything that's consistent, so I brush it off. Yesterday, he was in his bedroom watching a movie, and I went to his room to check on him, and he was leaning over his turtle's tank, and the room smelled very strongly of perfume. I asked him what he was doing, and he told me that he had poured a bottle of perfume into his turtle's tank.
Oh, my.
I immediately got furious, as he knows full well that the turtle tank is off limits, and he's been in trouble for touching the tank before. He started saying, I'm sorry, and I asked him, why did you do that? And as he could have killed our turtle, and he told me his ghost friend made him, that he didn't want to, and that his ghost friend makes him follow his bad rules. And I told him that his ghost friend is not welcome in our house, and he needs to get to the other side. My son was upset and said he would miss his friend, and he's a good friend. I need some advice. I'm not sure how to deal with this and how to help my son part with his friend. Yeah, you do. You need help. That's a tough one. But again, is it a malicious thing? Is it just mischievous? I don't know. Again, it's tough. What does a ghost friend mean? If it's telling you to pour perfume in a turtle tank when you know you're not supposed to touch it. Doesn't sound like a good influence to me. But, then again, maybe if a spirit's in limbo, they just want to feel alive somehow. And so to get a kid to act out on their whims is maybe a validation of sorts. I don't know. Not a good friend, though, it doesn't sound like to me.
No. If your imaginary friend's telling you to do naughty things.
Yeah.
Whew.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
That's not right.
There better be some saging up in there. I have to apologize, and I don't ever want to offend anybody on the portal. I just like to have fun. I love accents. To me, I just think it's cool.
Right.
Now, I saw a comment on one of our shows like, "Oh, his dumb voice has a southern accent." I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, maybe I'm portraying that wrong." And I don't. I usually am mimicking Squidbillies. It's I don't know if you ever watched the Cartoon Network. At night they have really. There's some hilarious shows on there. There's a lot of stupid shows. But there's this one called Squidbillies that just kills me. It's hilarious to me. It's inappropriate as hell all the time, but you got to be stupid sometimes. You just got to be. And so the voice that I'm mimicking is just Squidbilly voice. It's like the guy on there, and they're a bunch of hillbillies. And so that's my intention, is to mimic like the Squidbillies, not to put down the South and people from the South. I have a lot of friends from the South, and I don't think any of them are stupid people. So if I've ever done that, and if it's ever offended any of you, I'm sorry. That certainly has never been my intention. But I just saw that comment, and I'm like, doop. I didn't mean it that way. So I do apologize. Anything? Anyone? Nothing?
I'm okay with it.
Okay. Okay.
It's just it's just Brent imitating Don's what?
No, it's a Squidbilly imitation.
As a matter of fact, you were saying that, and just before you said that, Dee says, "Here's one. My cousin had a kid when she started talking, had an accent nobody around her had." So how is that possible?
What? No. What was that?
She had a cousin.
Okay.
Whose kid had an accent. When she started learning to talk, she had an accent that nobody around her had.
Oh, that's funny.
Memory of a past life.
Yeah, it could be. Could very well be. But that's
interesting.
I've seen my son do that. The 3-year-old again. Ever since he's been talking, he says, "I can't do that." Not I can't. He says, "I can't do that. I can't do that." And I'm like, wow, where did he pick that up? But then it occurred to me, he likes to watch Peppa Pig.
Oh,
or he did.
Yeah, and they're British.
So, right, it's a British.
UK,
and he watches this, what the hell's the little fairy one called? Ben and Holly. And that's made by the same people that make Peppa Pig, but the same English and British accents. Huh. So very interesting, and I'm sure that must be where he picked it up. But I can't do that, and I was like, wow, my kid. But it may be more than that. I don't know. But
Renee is identifying with you, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, it straight up said Squidbillies is a cartoon on Cartoon Central.
Yeah,
or Cartoon Channel.
Yep. it's
says, I like Mr. Pickles about the satanic dog. So you probably, I don't know anything about that. I don't watch TV.
I don't either, and that's the thing. But I did go through the stretch where I was, watching a lot of that stupid stuff, and it was just hilarious. Every once in a while, you can't be serious all the time. You've just got to, you got to go full stupid. It's just important because, to me, it's exactly same kind of show, That's what Squidbillies is like.
Yeah.
So and it could be the same people that make both shows, but that's what I'm saying.
Thanks, Meatwad.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my thing is accents and impressions. I just get a kick out of them.
Goodness.
Yeah, you got to entertain yourselves. So
Yep. No, Lewis. No,
no,
Barney.
I've never ever let any of my children watch Barney.
God, that's a scary show.
Oh, it's inane and
that and the Teletubbies.
Very well. I got to give it to you. You're right.
And the Wiggles.
No, just stop. I'm getting totally unparanormal here. I'm getting perturbed.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault.
Right. Well, anyhow.
It's not your fault, of course. But anyway. Well, let's get into another one, shall we?
Certainly.
That's really cool. I'm so glad we've got new people finding the show and to see familiar faces like Lichty come in. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen her enough.
I know. She's a wonderful lady. Long-time friend. She was one of the first people I knew when I started doing the portal. Mm-hmm. She's been an avid supporter of TFR for ages.
For Andy, Ian.
Yeah, Ian as well. You're right. Yep. Wonderful people. Wonderful. All right. So the next one. Oh, here we go. And this one has to do with an autistic child.
Oh, well, there we go.
So my dad has a friend, and I think his friend's daughter sees spirits and ghosts. There's a few things that have happened to her, and she is 7 years old and autistic. So she is also going deaf, but she can hear somewhat okay right now. But as time goes on, the doctors say she will go completely deaf. Oh, that's terrible. Let's see. I gotta skip past that part because it's not relevant. Once I was at his house with her and her mom. Her mom and dad and I were talking, and she was playing with her dolls. And later on, she got up and stood in front of the door to the computer room. She signs rather than talking, usually because she is used to doing that at school. Eventually, we noticed that she was signing "pay attention" to the empty room. I'm not fluent in sign language, but her mom was saying that she was talking to what seemed like 2 or 3 people and was telling each of them to pay attention and was getting upset when they weren't paying attention. We asked her, "Who are you talking to?" And she just looked at us. Then we said, "What are their names?" And she said, "I don't know." Another thing that happened was she was staying at a babysitter's house, and everything was fine until all of a sudden she absolutely freaked out and started to cry. The babysitter called her mom and said that it would probably be best if she picked her up and took her home. And when her mom took her home, she asked what was wrong, but she wouldn't tell her. She didn't talk for about a week. When she finally started talking, she told her mom that when she was at the babysitter's house, she saw a man and his son standing by the staircase, and they were scaring her. When she was 3 years old, she wouldn't sleep in her own room. Her mom finally got her to go in there, and after tucking her in, her mom noticed that she was staring off into space, and she asked, "What are you staring at?" The 3-year-old responded, "The lady standing behind you."
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez. Later on, the mother found out that the lady who owned the house before them had passed away there.
Of course.
I have never been into her house, but there are a lot of people who know her that won't go back after being there a few times. So very interesting. And there you go with your autism idea.
Yeah. And I don't mean to say just kids with autism.
No,
I mean,
of
it
course.
could be any kid, that has some kind of connection like that or issue or challenge, whatever you want to, however the best way to say that is. But, I mean, it just makes sense to me. It makes sense to me.
Here's the thing, and this is kind of my thoughts on it. And again, they're worth whatever you decide they're worth. But it seems to me that life creates balance. And so whenever something is out of balance, something else will rise up to create a balance. So
Right.
in terms of that child, for instance, she's going deaf. Part of her awareness is systematically being removed. Having autism anyway means that she sees things very different from
Oh, yeah.
what everyone else sees them.
Right.
But the combination of which probably has tuned her brain to, be much more open to that and to create that awareness. And the interesting thing that I find is that, and this is something that I've heard talked about in the paranormal communities, and I agree with the answer that a lot of people give, in that many people say, well, if in this instance, for instance, the girl was signing things to an empty room, acting like she was talking to several people. Now, the question would be, if those people didn't speak sign language in life, how the hell do they know what she's doing, right?
Well, that might be why she was getting upset, because they weren't doing it. They weren't paying attention.
Well,
yeah.
But the same can be said for going to, like, perhaps some other country where they don't speak English,
Right.
and starting to ask spirits questions. And how can they respond if they don't speak English in their life? And the response that I've heard, and this is something that I agree with, is that we as physical beings need to form thoughts into sound, and we need to speak them in order for other people to hear with their auditory ears, and or see gestures and stuff like that. But it starts as energy. And so, as clearly spirits don't have a voice box. They don't have a physical apparatus like we do to create sound. But all of these different languages start with this energetic inspiration to share a thought or an idea or something. And so, as spirits are energetic, they can feel the intention of the words rather than respond to the physical manifestation of them. So you don't need to speak the same language in order to communicate.
Right.
And perhaps they're also able to create like EVPs in a language that we would understand, because after all, it's just energy, and perhaps they utilize the person's energy to create words.
Oh, right.
That knowledge of the sounds, they're able to tap into that and manifest it on tape or whatever.
Huh.
So just some thoughts, but again,
That's a kind of a useful piece of information from when you start talking about
ancient Native Americans
word generators.
Well, it is, yeah, and that's a good point. I guess you're right. That could correlate, but the missing part of that would be that people can't look at a word generator and make a sound. So
that's because we're earthbound energies, not free energies.
Well, no, but what I mean is that it takes apparently the word generators are set up to understand or to correlate frequency with phonics.
Resonance of words.
Right. So that by creating a certain energy field can cause this device to spit out a specific word. And therein lies the problem for me, is that how is it manifesting that complete vocabulary, never having been in touch with it before? And perhaps you're right. Perhaps it is that they are able to tap into that energetic field and understand the whatever the makers were putting together to create that. I don't know.
Maybe that's not it, though. Maybe it's because you just said, maybe they're using the power of the person
to formulate
words that the box generator, the word generator, can interpret.
But do you see what I mean? There's like a disconnect between biological and mechanical to me. At least to me. That's like a personal bias. And I'm not saying that they don't work. I'm just saying I don't understand that part of it.
Right.
Like, it's hard for me to quantify that concept into a reality that makes sense. But then again, I don't need to, I guess.
It doesn't matter what you believe.
Right. Doesn't matter what I don't understand. It just matters that, people do get incredibly, interesting pieces of information. They do from these spirit boxes and stuff, and these ovulists and stuff like that. Not so much the spirit box, which is a radio scanning frequencies, but from like an ovulus or ovulus 2, whatever version they're using, which takes an energetic field and creates words through a database of, I don't know how it's tuned. I guess there's a lot I don't understand about that, but Again, I'm not even sure how that device works, so I don't know. So this story starts a few years back, 10 years and 10 months to be exact. I was pregnant with my second child, who was a son. Excuse me. And my papa passed away from an awful struggle against cancer. He truly loved my daughter and was heartbroken as he knew he would probably not meet his great-grandson. He had moved in with my mom for his final years, and he died in what used to be my brother's room at my mother's home. Last July, my mom retired and moved myself and my fiance, bought her home, which was my childhood home, and we completely remodeled the house. One day, I was alone at the house painting my brother's old room. This room was now belonged to both my 10-year-old son and my 2-year-old son. And I was up on the ladder trying to stretch paint. What the hell is that?
Like standing on the top rung trying to stretch out.
Oh,
and paint the
okay,
wall.
gotcha. All right. I was like, how do you stretch paint? I don't get it. I need to know this.
Really, really thinly.
Yeah, I guess.
Like nice lean mutton.
I lost my balance and saw my feet leave the ladder. I closed my eyes and somehow was put back and saved from falling. I had goosebumps, but just said, "Thanks, Papa." 2 nights ago, my toddler told me that there was a ghost laying in Bubba's bed.
Oh.
And he has since started being very clingy. He is usually fearless and dark doesn't bother him, but last night, me and my fiance were watching TV and my son was sitting on his bed playing a Game Boy, and then he said the ghost was there. We watched him, and he wasn't aware we were watching, and as he played, he would get a big-eyed look at the bed beside him. He did this for about 20 minutes, and he never cried, just acted like he did not want to lose sight of the ghost. And my 2 older children were not here at the time. Anyone have any advice? Well, if you believe it's your dad, then I don't think that's a bad thing. I suppose my advice would be to talk to your son and try to have a dialogue and make it okay and make it not scary. But then again, if it's not your dad, yeah, I guess it
could be a bad institution right there.
Call Deb. No.
Yes.
To dear submitter, call Deb. I don't know. That's probably a psychic needs to help you dial that in. It's one of those situations that you don't want to be wrong because you don't want you don't want something dark influencing your kid, but at the same time, you don't want to discourage that sight and that vision. I don't know. It's kind of the theme of the night, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually.
It's that whole balancing act.
Yeah.
All right. So it's almost 9:15, but I'll read one more.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know which one. Oh, we'll do this one. Let me look at it. Just see if it's extra long. No, this is real short. I might read a couple more. Are you in a rush?
I'm okay.
All right, we're going to just go a little bit more, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you don't mind. How many people are with us?
We were up to 27 to 30. We're at 22 right now.
22. Where did those people go?
I don't know.
We have not dismissed anybody.
Class is still in session.
Yeah, exactly. So
I
I'm
will
just
be right
saying.
back.
Huh?
I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll go to me vision so we can get a good look at you shadow dancing. Oh, you passed too quickly. Never mind. All right. Well, I'll just go to me. There's just more me. That's all, ladies and gentlemen. That's not a bad thing, right? All right. I'm a single mom of a 3-year-old daughter, and I've suspected for a while that she sees, things. I've been to a couple of mediums who have also brought this subject up, saying that she indeed does see things. We recently started staying with my grandma while our house is being built, and my grandfather died in the house about 3 years prior. Strange things happen, loud crashes, and I will start the dryer, come back, and it will be off and the door opened. And where we sleep, someone constantly jerks the door handle at night. My grandma says this always happens and claims the noises are from squirrels on the roof. Oh, squirrels have been blamed for so much in the paranormal. My daughter is having conversations with her toys, and the other night I walked into the room and she was saying, "Leave me alone," and she was by herself, and I asked her who she was talking to, and she said, no one. She speaks a lot about my dead uncle who died like 30 years ago in a car wreck, and he was only 18 years old. No one ever really told her anything about him, but she talks about him a lot. One more strange thing happens in this house where neither of us can sleep well, and I have the most crazy vivid dreams and wake up all through the night. Every night I wake up at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Has anyone had an experience like this? Is there any way to confirm she is seeing things? Well, if you've already had a couple of mediums tell you that she is, and you're noticing your child having dialogue, then I'm going to say that, yeah, she's probably seeing something. I don't know what it is. I heard Don down there. I wonder if my minion was trying to walk into the bathroom. You're like, hey, hey, hey. Oh, Don. He might have just puckered pretty hard. I heard you. Did you almost get walked in on?
No.
Oh, I heard you down there. I was like,
just...
I thought maybe my minion was trying to come into the bathroom.
No, he was just saying, I gotta go potty. And he says, Uncle Don. I said, I'm not in there. Get in there. Poor guy. Apparently I was holding him up.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about that age, but he's got to wait until it's just an unbearable pinch. I mean, he does the pee stance where his knees go in and he's doing this weird wiggle. It's like, you got to go to the bathroom? No, I'm fine.
Anyhow. Like, get in there, buddy.
It's like, just why wait till it's painful? Just take care of it. It's like, oh, I feel a pressure. I should probably take care of this. Not him. He won't miss a beat of whatever the hell he's doing until it's like he's starting to contort and do weird things. And it's like, okay, bathroom. And sometimes he doesn't always make it. He does this mad dash, like a panicky dash. And it's not like I scold him if he has an accident, but it's like, don't wait till it hurts so much. Just go. But that's that age. I don't know.
Gotta
can't be bothered with things like peeing. Like,
oh no, yeah.
There's toys that need playing. These things don't play themselves, Dad.
That's right. Unless the people jumping on the bed, the pink, yellows, greens, and purples.
Well, yeah, but those are they apparently help play with the toys, I guess. Very strange, but yeah, I thought for sure you were getting a visitor.
Oh no.
That's hilarious. I was just nope. He just nopes out of any productive bathroom time. Except, I'm here to tell you, when that child has a seat to make a movement, he takes after his dad, because that's like the den.
Banishing demons.
That's the den at that point. He's in there purging some stuff. That's all.
Wow,
I'm saying.
Here we go into potty humor.
Oh, well, it doesn't take long. Like I said, we have a full spectrum of paranormal here, and I don't know, but he can make a weekend out of a good
trip to the restaurant,
out of a good poo. That's all I'm saying. He can make it a holiday. He'll be at it all day long if you let him.
Oh my goodness!
It's like, okay, someone else has to go. Get out of there. And we only have one bathroom in the house, and I'm pretty sure he's made it the library. No, I'm just kidding. He does sit down for a while though. It's like, you still in there? Yeah. Are you done? No. It's like, okay. And then I'm out there going, are you done yet?
I'm doing
the contortions like, are you done yet? Oh my God.
My goodness.
There you have it. That's the Paranormal Portal. I think I'll read one more though, because there's one more that I wanted to see.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This one has to do with a daycare setting. So I wonder how long. No, it's very short.
It's not bad at all.
All right. I own a daycare, and one day after lunch, one of my daycare kids, who was 4 at the time, was walking out of our hall bathroom. Oh, the bathroom in the hall. And she ran to the living room and told me that there was a ghost in the hall, and it was a little girl. She said the little girl was chasing her and that she ran away from the little girl chasing her, and the little girl gave up. She then walked into the playroom and told me that there was a man out there. And I was the only one in the house with the kids at the time, so I asked her, what was the man's name? And she told me that his name was Martin. Sometime in the 80s, a man died in this house. His last name just happened to be Martin. I have never said anything to the kids about Mr. Martin, so there's no way that she could have known about Mr. Martin. The little girl also told me that there's a lady ghost with the man, and they were about to kiss.
Oh my!
About a year. Well, that's nice. I mean, that's good to know. It's
a
like
lot of love in there.
Yeah, forever's a long time. So
that's right.
You know,
Get used to it.
Get a little busy once in a while. That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
Just kidding. About a year or so before this happened, the same little girl was playing with another little girl, and there was no one else in the room. What does that have to do with anything? Okay, my 18-year-old daughter has also seen things. She has walked through the living room and has seen a black dog floating in the air near the room where Mr. Martin died.
Did you say dog or fog?
Oh, fog. It is fog, isn't it? Sorry. I've been reading stuff for a long time now. I'm starting to get that film over my eyes. Floating in the air near the room where Mr. Martin died. And she has also seen someone standing in the hallway by that hallway bathroom. My dog will stand in the doorway of the bedroom and bark into the hallway for no reason. My 16-year-old son was sitting at the computer one night, and out of the corner of his eye saw a shadow walk past him, and he was the only one in the room at the time. There's been quite a few strange things happen in this house. One night I was watching, what is an OU?
Sooners.
Sooners.
Nebraska.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. I don't follow sports, so
I don't either.
Well, you knew more about it than I did, so. I was watching that game on TV, and someone or something changed the channel on the TV. It sounds like your house, Don.
No.
I was in the house alone.
No, so. I know that Ruthie C says a floating dog is more interesting. By the way, no, I know that that TV was just having electrical issues. It was a bad switch. It was turning itself on and off.
You just know that.
I know that.
Well, you're probably right, but as electronics today are not made like those older TVs, but
and something in there. What was it? There was something that you read in there that triggered something that I wanted to say, but I forgot it now.
The little girl chasing her.
Oh, no, the thing out of the corner of your eye. Okay, so she said that her son was using the computer and he saw a black thing out the side of his eye.
Right.
Big deal. Big deal. I mean,
no,
I mean, because I've walked past, like, my studio door, right? And I've walked past it and my door's